Why start an Airbnb business? See, and make sure you're profitable. You're losing business. I have worked in probably hundreds of accounts on Airbnb. I've been a victim of Amazon a lot because in Amazon, normally you take a phone out, right? You go into Amazon app, you search for, say, a specific product, scroll through, you find probably the first 10 listing. Why start an Airbnb business when you do not actually understand guests? Guys, look, I'll tell you today, it's actually quite easy going and getting a property. It's actually quite hard to fill that property and make sure you're profitable, because if you don't, you're losing business. You can have all this property in the world, and I know a lot of clients I've worked with previously have had issues, scale too quickly, want to go get properties, want to spend all their money setting up, but then actually don't really understand who their guests are, what type of behaviors do they have online to book their property. So welcome to another Grow Airbnb video. Today it's going to be something again quite different. You're not going to find this kind of information online with other people, purely because I have worked in probably hundreds of accounts on Airbnb. We've served thousands and thousands of guests via our marketing and advertising strategy and different types of guests, and how they've actually booked our client property. So guys, please make sure you watch this video till the end, because I'm going to drop some little nuggets that you need to understand if you are already starting an Airbnb business or you're about to start. So let me take you back to 2018 when service accommodation or Airbnb rental arbitrage first started, or actually started to get a little hype on it. A lot of people were just thinking, yes, do you know what, let me put my property on Airbnb and booking.com. Now fast forward 5 years later, the stock level has doubled, in some places even more than doubled, which means the stock level's gone up. Obviously there's guests who are understanding Airbnb and short-term rental business, but then also now they've also got a behavior or choice on how they want to book your property. Now, working with so many different clients over the last few years, one thing I've realized is I ask clients who is their ideal guest, what are they looking for? Yes, there's something they're looking for on the property, but how are they going to choose your property? Because if you look at a listing on Airbnb, you're going to end up seeing thousands of listings in that investment area, or at least in the surrounding investment area. So how do you make sure that A, your guest wants to see your listing, and secondly, what behaviors do they have when they're in their computer or when they're in their laptop? And a good example I want to share you is, look, I've been a victim of Amazon a lot, because in Amazon, normally you take a phone out, right? You go into Amazon app, you search for, say, a specific product, scroll through, you find probably the first 10 listing, you go through them, you probably flick through the pictures quickly, you look at the price. Normally it would say, oh, it's normally this. Nowadays Amazon's quite clever, they're putting like 15% off a few few items. And lastly, if you like it, you're going to put add to basket. I haven't read all the other things in the actual listing, and I've swiped paid. Now, for me, that is a customer behavior that I have currently with Amazon, and as a result of that, sometimes I spend hundreds of pounds in a day, but just taking less than 30 seconds in their app journey. So now let's put this into your Airbnb and short-term renter business. Look, we'd love to serve every guest potentially out there, but sometimes it's not ideal, purely because of A, you might not have the calendar availability. B, the type of guest might have certainly completely different requirement in terms of bed settings, B, location. So what I really want to do today in this video is, I want to first, if you've got a pen and paper, please write this down. Write down your top 10 guests, potential guests that is looking to book your property, right? Now it could be a family if you've got a property next to a museum, right? Think about family who's going to come over the leisure stay over maybe the weekend stay. Think about maybe you've got a property next to a business park where a lot of businesses bring their staff. So think about that. Think about what days are they looking to come in and stay. Are they looking to, if it's a business traveler, or do you think they're going to come and stay with you over the weekend, or do you think they're going to come in over the weekdays period? What's the amount of turnover you're going to go through in this property as a result of that? So the first thing I want you to do is list at least 10 different guests who is probably ideal guest for your property, but also an ideal guest to your calendar. Because think about weekends and think about weekdays. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the type of booking behaviors do they have. Now, one of the things I've recently gone through with one of my big clients is how do we personalize listing based on a listing as a property, B, a type of guest, right? We're heavily UK dominant, so we work with a lot of clients in UK. One of the main guest behaviors we've got, especially for bigger properties with an okay setup, not a luxury model, an okay setup, is contractors. Because, you know, as a contractor, they come in Monday to Friday. Sometimes they will book you Monday to Friday for the next 12 weeks. Over the weekend, they go home. So we're now thinking, well, how do we make a listing that is consistently attracting them, ideally a Monday to Friday guest if they've got a vacant calendar, but then also a weekend client because they need to fill the weekends to make as much as profit. So now we've been starting to think about guest behaviors and their kind of where do they click on Airbnb? What filters are they using? You know, what pricing are they attracting in your investment area? And a lot of time, if you sit down and understand this guest booking behavior, before you even go and get this property, you're going to end up with a lot more better strategies to fill these properties. So over the last few months, me and my team, obviously working with different accounts and seeing different Airbnb guests sending messages to our clients listing, we get to see, you know, what's their requirement, you know, what dates are they looking for. Sometimes even the way they communicate with you makes a massive difference on the chances of them booking your property. So much information there is out there for you to learn, but also more importantly to look at how to streamline your research. Because at the end of the day, like I said to you, understanding types of guest behavior, like today's video, just by you writing that 10 list of people that you really want to understand the guests and then create ads maybe based on that. Go and try that in your listing. Go and change your ad based on what guest want to see, what do they want to look, what do they want to book you, you know, what are they exactly looking at location wise, what they're looking at feature of the property, and you know what, you will create something very special for your business. So finally, look, by doing this, we've seen that we will make massive impacts on clients' businesses. You know, I want to show you a screenshot of Adam and Dan, who was doing only $3-4 grand, $5 grand maximum on a portfolio of 10 properties on their Airbnb account. And today they've done over £15,000. The same Airbnb account never did that before. Whereas today they've done over £15,000 revenue in 1 month. And guys, like, it's the same property. The only difference is we understand guests. We understand their properties and we understand the guest behaviors. And that's what we did for this client. So look, that is the difference between understanding guests and their booking behaviors. Now, let me take to my client Airbnb account. So as you can see, this stands on Adam's account. And yeah, so I want to go into obviously showing you results and understanding why the guest behavior is so important for me. So for example, you see here where most of their revenue was, you know, coming from direct and booking.com, but also they hadn't maximized their Airbnb account to a full potential. So one of the things I kept asking my clients were, who are your guests? Who do you think you're going to attract on your property? What's your property set up like? Because if you're going to attract big contractors booking, they need to have certain kind of guest requirement. So if you look at this, they scaled quite quickly around April time, but hadn't had a chance to really land big bookings. So for me, we took advantage of April to build the brand. We did exactly the same in May. And do you know what? 1st of June, in the 1st of June to 10th of June is what they did with this number. And actually in June, as we speak today, is the 19th of June. You can see there are £16,248 on revenue, which for me is about 30% of their results for the whole year in a month coming from Airbnb itself. So guys, look, I hope you enjoyed this video, you understood about guest behaviors. Look, in any business, doesn't matter if you're running just an Airbnb or short-term rental business, it applies to any business you work with, especially if you're running an online business and you're doing online advertising using be Airbnb, booking.com, be direct. it's crucial you understand your clients and your clients' behaviors online. You're watching this YouTube video purely because obviously you wanted to learn about your guests, you wanted to learn about who are the potential guests you want to work with. But more importantly, I think this video will open your eyes to understand, like, look, getting a property is not a problem. You've got enough videos out there to go and learn about getting properties and how to get properties. And more importantly, look, if you call a landlord or a real estate agent 100 times, you're bound to get one property, because nowadays people understand what a short-term rental business is, what an Airbnb business is. But once you get that property and you don't make money because you don't understand your guests, your customers who's actually making you money for your properties, then you're going to start struggling. So guys, I hope you enjoyed another Airbnb video. Please make sure you go and watch some of my direct booking videos I've created for, clients like yourself who's about to start, or I actually do this for bigger clients who's got over 150 properties, right? So look, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe and share, and I'll be back with another video soon.